Swede Hanson, the special guest referee for the match. Your thoughts on Swede?
Hands like clubs. He was a good guy. His fun suit was fun. He was just passing through, and one of those guys, that Vince would took care of and brought in. He came out of Charlotte. He's a big, rugged guy, and big man.
He was there for a while too, right?
Yeah.
One of the guys that hung around for a while. You then worked with Swede, I guess, as a result of that match because they aired it on the weeklies. How was he in the ring? Like working with a cinder block or?
Only the chops. Pop all the chip pimples on your chest. You didn't have to worry about coming out. He had a heavy hat. No, he was easy.
Yeah. What was the accepted attitude in the locker room about the women coming around?
Everybody had been in other territories, where the girls would come. They were like the midgets, the girls and midgets. They would come in, do their
novelty,
do their 2 weeks, and go. Yeah, there was no big deal. They were, they were on the card. But those days they had 2-3 shows running a night.
Right.
So there wasn't, they weren't taking any money out of anybody's wallet or nothing. They probably added to the card. I don't know, because we were doing so well. It would be hard to gauge,
Right.
because business was capacity just
Right.
about everywhere. So the women or the midgets, or whatever, whatever novelty act you had. Not that we weren't all novelty acts, but
that's an interesting way to
whatever
look at it.
Whatever sexual novelty act you'd happen to have, they were, I guess, more for the fans, probably than to try and. They didn't need them to kick the houses up.
No,
they didn't need anybody to,
just to break up the card a little.
Just, yeah, just throw a carrot to the people.
How about Lillian?
She was a tough old bag. She used to beat the hell out of those girls. I heard. She was. Oh God, she was my love interest in every one of those Fuji things we did. I don't know. I don't know how they couldn't find somebody. Hire somebody with the,
Couldn't bring Wendy Richter in to fill that role at the time, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
But somebody out of wrestling,
right.
A legitimate
You're right.
future porn star or something,
I forgot about that. You're right. You had to. That's right. She
Yeah,
was always the damsel in distress.
She was my love interest in every Fuji Vice or General or whatever we happened to do.
Don, no one can say you didn't pay your dues.
Oh.
Do you recall any of the details of the accident with
The whole thing, I was the one he called.
Really?
Yeah, and as you prefaced earlier with the Syracuse incident, that Jimmy, that all happened that one night. So I was. They called me. He called the nurse. He had a nurse or whoever was at the hospital that he'd gone to the emergency. They called me, and at that time, Skolin used to pay off a bunch of the small towns. He had $600-800 in his pocket. I got there, told him watch me to go through his pockets, and his pockets were empty. He was there. He called me about 12. Earlier I'd seen. I know what you're getting at. But earlier I'd seen the ambulance come and take Nancy Valentino away. We're all at the George Washington Hotel there. So as I was leaving the emergency room, she was in another curtain on the other side. It was the same. It was the same night. Eddie Graham had driven. He had a brand new Lincoln Continental town car.
Eddie Gilbert.
Yeah, Eddie Gilbert had driven his brand new Lincoln up the ass of a semi trailer. And the guy didn't know it. I guess he dragged him about a mile.
Was he alone, Eddie?
Yeah. And he finally looked back in his mirror, and there's a big fire going on in the back of his truck. And he was dragging the Lincoln, the town car, had gotten stuck underneath the thing. He just ran to the back, and they were just going down the highway there. So I went in to get Eddie, and the guys had told me that. And then by the time I got back to the hotel, the state trooper was was there in the.
You were all staying at the same.
In the George Washington in Allentown.
Which brings us to. So you return now from
Emergency room.
Eddie, and now
I run into the troopers, and Miss Valentino succumbed last night. I said, what? So we got to go to Hamburg. We're now in town. We got to go to Hamburg. So I come out. I go back, get my stuff together. And I come out, and there's two guys, coat and ties, walking around, bald-headed guy, Italian guy, and another guy, and they're the homicide detectives from Allentown, and they're trying to talk to Jimmy, and I said, I don't know, I said, can I help you guys? Anyways, he doesn't seem to speak English very well. I said, okay, blah, 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 and I kind of was an intermediary there, between the things, and I'm on the phone to Vince, instantly. I'd been on the phone to Vince earlier, and he'd asked me if I'd heard about that. I said no, but I saw it at the hospital, so these guys are talking about. So I'm on the way to Hamburg with the two homicide detectives. So I told the guy, I haven't slept or eaten or drank. I said, there's a couple cold Budweisers or something. And I don't even drink Budweiser. I said, you guys don't mind if they're following me and I'm having a couple beers on the way to Hamburg. They weren't traffic cops.
I was going to say the homicide cops generally don't care.
They could care less. So that's how. And I got everybody. I kind of put. I saw my whole future going down the tubes there too. Because Jimmy was, I was involved, not yet with Jimmy, but soon to be.
Plan, yeah.
Yeah, so, I was the one that they followed me to, and I drove Jimmy to Hamburg.
What was he saying in the car?
That he'd slipped, and he was, despondent, and hit her head, and pretty much, whatever, the statements were.
He, and then it just kind of goes away. Right? I mean, he kept working.
Yeah.
Did you know Nancy?
Was
she a serious girlfriend or just someone that was kind of growing?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had a family in Cherry Hill at the time too.
Yeah.
Philadelphia. So he was, I had known his wife from Minneapolis many years before. So that was, it was a big thing. But that wasn't really but that's what. That whole night was a long one.